Elephant in the hangar. What does cheapest actually mean? Because a $30,000 jet that costs you $200,000 annually in operating expenses isn't cheap. It's financial suicide. So we're looking at total cost of ownership over 5 years, not just the sticker price. The absolute cheapest entry point is buying an older light jet outright. I'm talking about aircraft from the 1970s and 80s, specifically the Learjet 24 or 25. You can find these for anywhere between $75,000 to $250,000. Yes, you heard that right. The same price as a fully loaded luxury SUV. These jets cruise at around 500 miles per hour and can carry 6 to 8 passengers depending on configuration. But here's the reality check. A Learjet 24 will cost you roughly $150,000 to $250,000 per year to operate if you're flying 100 to 150 hours annually. That's fuel, which these older jets guzzle at around 200 gallons per hour at roughly $5 per gallon. That's $1,000 per flight hour just in fuel. Then you've got hangar fees averaging $2,000 to $5,000 per month, depending on location. Insurance running $10,000 to $30,000 annually, and mandatory inspections that'll set you back $20,000 to $50,000 per year. The smarter play? Fractional ownership through a program like NetJets or FlexJet, but not the way you think. Most people assume fractional ownership means buying a share of a new Citation or Gulfstream. Wrong. Several companies now offer fractional programs on older, depreciated aircraft. You can buy a 1/16th share of a 10-year-old Phenom 100 for around $125,000. Your monthly management fee runs about $2,000, and you pay roughly $2,500 per flight hour. If you fly 25 hours per year, that's around $150,000 total annually. And you're not dealing with maintenance headaches or trying to sell the plane later. Stick around until the end because I'm going to reveal the absolute smartest strategy that lets you own a jet for almost nothing out of pocket, and it's completely legal. Now, let's talk about the option nobody considers: turboprops. I know what you're thinking. Turboprops aren't jets. Technically correct, but hear me out. A Piper Meridian or a TBM 850 can be purchased for $600,000 to $1.2 million. These aircraft cruise at 300 to 350 miles per hour, carry 6 passengers comfortably, and here's the kicker. Operating costs are roughly 40% lower than comparable light jets. We're talking $600 to $800 per flight hour all in. For someone flying 50 to 100 hours per year, this is the sweet spot. You get 90% of the private jet experience at half the cost. The Piper Meridian specifically deserves attention. With a range of 1,000 miles and a comfortable cabin, it handles 90% of private aviation missions. Purchase price in 2026 for a well-maintained 2010 to 2015 model runs $700,000 to $900,000. Operating costs land around $650 per flight hour. Over 5 years at 75 hours annually, you're looking at roughly $300,000 in operating expenses plus the aircraft purchase. But here's the beautiful part. These planes hold their value remarkably well. That $900,000 Meridian will likely sell for $700,000 to $750,000 5 years from now. Let's break down a real scenario. You buy a 2012 Piper Meridian for $850,000. You fly 75 hours per year. Your annual costs look like this. Fuel at roughly 35 gallons per hour times $4.5 equals about $118,000 annually. Hangar at $2,000 per month equals $24,000. Insurance at $15,000. Maintenance and inspections averaging $40,000 annually. Total $197,000 per year, or about $2,600 per flight hour all in. After 5 years, you sell for $725,000. Total 5-year cost, $1.1 million, or roughly $220,000 per year. That's less than many people spend on luxury car leases, country club memberships, and first-class flights combined. But we're not done. The absolute most financially efficient method is what I call the charter hybrid model. You purchase an older Citation CJ series aircraft, specifically a CJ1 from the late 90s or early 2000s, for around $800,000 to $1.1 million. Here's where it gets interesting. You place this aircraft with a Part 135 charter certificate holder. They manage the plane, handle all maintenance, pay for hangar, insurance, and everything else. In exchange, they charter your plane when you're not using it. You get 40 to 60 hours of free flying per year, and the charter revenue covers roughly 70 to 90% of your ownership costs. Let's run the numbers. A 2003 Citation CJ1 costs you $950,000. You're partnered with a charter management company. They charge you $3,000 per flight hour for your personal use. You fly 50 hours annually. That's $150,000, but the charter revenue from the other 200 hours they fly generates roughly $400,000 in gross revenue. After their management fees and operational costs, you receive about $120,000 back. Your net annual cost, $30,000 for 50 hours of private jet travel. That's $600 per flight hour. Nothing else comes close. The catch? You need the right aircraft. It must be in demand for charter. That means Citation CJs, Phenom 100s, or Premier ones. Older Learjets won't work because charter customers demand newer, quieter, more efficient jets. The aircraft needs to be well maintained with a solid logbook. And you need to be flexible because peak charter days, especially around holidays, you might not have access. Here's another strategy gaining traction: jet cards with equity stakes. Companies like AirShare and PlaneSense offer programs where you essentially prepay for flight hours at a discounted rate, but you're also building equity in the fleet. It's not true ownership, but financially it's one of the smartest plays. You commit to 150 hours over 3 years at $2,800 per hour. That's $420,000 total. Compare that to buying your own jet. Even with the charter hybrid model, you're tying out aggressively. Flying 150 hours? Buy a well-maintained turboprop or older light jet. Under 75 hours? Fractional or charter hybrid is your answer. Under 50 hours? You're not ready to own. Stack jet cards and charter memberships instead. One fight to own a jet in 2026 isn't about finding the lowest purchase price. It's about matching your mission profile to the most efficient aircraft and ownership structure. If you're flying 300 hours per year, buy new and charter it out. Even the charter hybrid model struggles to pencil out. You're better off with a jet card or on-demand charter. But cross that 100-hour per year threshold, and suddenly the math shifts dramatically. The cheapest way annually. If you have flexibility on where you base your aircraft, you can save massive money. The dream of private jet ownership is more accessible than ever, but only if you're ruthlessly honest about your flying needs and willing to structure the deal intelligently. That $75,000 Learjet sounds amazing until you're writing $200,000 annual checks. That $2 million new Citation is beautiful until you realize final consideration nobody discusses. Location matters enormously. A jet based in Teterboro, New Jersey, faces operating costs 30 to 40% higher than the same jet in Fort Lauderdale or Phoenix. Hangar costs alone can swing $50,000 up $1 million in capital. That million invested conservatively at 6% annual returns generates $60,000 per year, or $300,000 over 5 years. The opportunity cost matters. For the person who flies under 50 hours per year, traditional ownership makes zero financial sense.